Welcome to the National Hispanic Council on Aging's 2024 Awards Ceremony.
Buenas noches, bienvenidos, and I thank you for making time.
Tonight we come together to celebrate the rich and vibrant contributions of the Hispanic community.
Together, we can do great things.
Welcome to the National Hispanic Council on Aging's 2024 Awards Ceremony. It's an absolute pleasure to have you join us tonight. For over 50 years, NACOA has been a beacon of hope and empowerment, dedicated to improving the lives of Hispanic older adults, their families, and caregivers, with a mission to create a safe space where we can come together to honor those who have left an indelible mark on our community. As you may know, this event is also the largest of NACOA's fundraising efforts to further impact initiatives throughout the year. Tonight we come together to celebrate the rich and vibrant contributions of the Hispanic community. The theme for this year's ceremony is Celebrating the Hispanic Influence, as we highlight the particular strength, talent, and achievements of Hispanic leaders and communities within and outside of the United States. I will admit, when I was asked to be your MC for this evening's awards ceremony, I was both honored and a little nervous. I rarely get nervous speaking in front of people. When I was a little girl, chiquitita, growing up in El Paso, Texas, my claim to fame was that I said the Pledge of Allegiance at the Texas Democratic Convention in the summer of 1990. I was 4 years old. The following November, Texas elected its first ever female governor. Some of you may remember, some of you may have been there, Ann Richards. I still remember campaigning with my parents. My mother was a campaign chair for the Richards campaign in their El Paso ground game, an attorney who went to college on an academic scholarship, My father was part of one of the first classes of Latino FBI agents joining the academy in 1972. A kid from El Paso, Texas, when he came and stayed at the Mayflower, that you all know here in DC, that was the first time he had stayed in a hotel. My grandmother, who cleaned houses, cooked in kitchens, and hoped for a better life, was holding an Ann Richards sign right next to me. She was a first-generation American with a father who was a French Spaniard and a mother who was a mestiza from the Chihuahuan desert of Ciudad Juarez, Mexico. My grandfather, right beside her, a World War II vet, served in Company E, the only all-Mexican American unit in the U.S. Army, who liberated parts of Rome and were bound by heritage and a strong desire to prove their worth, who also gained his citizenship from his very service. Being an American Latino in this country is rich and complex. We are both different and share so many similar experiences. At the time in 1990, I did not realize it, but I said the Pledge of Allegiance on the shoulders of my ancestors, my elders, those who paved the way for me. I have always thought that every success and failure, maybe like many of you, was something that my family and my community, I carried them with me when I either accomplished or didn't accomplish something. I would later grow up being nurtured, loved, and educated by my community and this very family. I would learn to see the world, people, and situations around me as opportunities to learn from, to observe, to understand, to always find a way forward, but never to do so without reaching back and sharing the path. Today, I serve as the Director of Diversity, Equity, Inclusion, and Community Impact with the SCAN Foundation, a philanthropic organization focused on prioritizing older adults of color, those from low-income communities, and the geographically underserved. I grew up in the South El Paso Senior Center, where my grandmother was the head cook. I remember the smell of tortillas and music, Vicente Fernandez and Willie Nelson. Skilled señores playing pool, secret bets happening with pennies and nickels and dimes, and señoras gathering to play washas, or washers, a horseshoe type game, gossiping and sharing the tea, of course, while also talking about the love for their children, grandchildren, and families. The stories I remember, the stories I tell now, and the ways in which my Latinidad has shaped who I am is at the core of something so much more valuable than I have ever been given. Our family stories shape who we are. That's what unites us. It's true that Hispanic Latinos are not monolithic and that the Hispanic influence is woven into the fabric of our society. From the arts and education to business, politics, science, and beyond, we've contributed immensely to the cultural, social, and economic tapestry of this nation. My own family is no exception. Your families are no exception. We think of Latino empowerment in the United States. We think of individuals like Cesar Chavez. He stood among such figures as Martin Luther King Jr., Reverend Jesse Jackson, and more, as a prolific organizer of nonviolent protest. We are also likely to think of the famous baseball player, Roberto Clemente, often referred to as the best player of his time. Clemente brought a level of excellence never seen before. We still admire him to this day as a paragon of morality and advocacy, as he championed his fellow Latino players and broke barriers for future generations. More recently, we may think of Dr. Richard Carmona, the first Latino Surgeon General of the United States Public Health Service. As Surgeon General, he focused on preventative care, health disparities, and health literacy. He is often remembered for his landmark report about the dangers of secondhand smoke. We may also admire the first woman of Hispanic heritage to have traveled to space, Ms. Ellen Ochoa. Ms. Ochoa strives to inspire women and minorities to pursue careers in STEM and to continue the search for new discoveries. And in music and the arts, like the innovative Afro-Latin blues rock fusion group from San Francisco, yes, I'm talking about Santana. Named after the musical icon Carlos Santana, his music has transcended genres, generations, cultures, and nationalities. The list of powerful Latino contributions to this world is endless, and we must keep telling those stories. Our language, our traditions, our resilience, our creativity, our talents, and our work have enriched the global community and have built bridges of understanding between diverse people and cultures. But tonight is also a call to continue cultivating leaders who will carry this legacy forward. It's about recognizing the power we hold as a community to shape the future. We know that. To inspire the next generation and to push for greater representation and inclusion at every level of society. We can't stop. Tonight, you will hear remarks from esteemed honorees with stories that have shaped who they are, have united communities during times of confusion or great strife, and have inspired others to be better, to do better, and to celebrate who we are while we do it. You will see from these honorees that their stories have more readily built bridges than walls. They have extended themselves to the community and the older Hispanic and Latinos who count on them every single day. From caregiver to policy leader, legislator, researcher, and advocate, tonight's honorees unite us all and inspire us to be better human beings. And tonight, I don't know about you, but I don't know if there's a greater lesson in humanity than that. Thank you for being here to share in this incredible celebration of our culture, our heritage, our unwavering commitment to shape the community in a better way. We would like to take a moment to express our heartfelt gratitude to our incredible sponsors this evening, Amgen, Alzheimer's Association, Eli Lilly, Forma, Latino Bold Magazine, Novo Nordisk, and Verizon. Their unwavering support has made this celebration possible, and their commitment to our cause is truly inspiring. We deeply appreciate their generous contributions. I would also like to extend a special thank you to a few individuals who have been instrumental in making this event a reality. First, Dr. Yanira Cruz, President and CEO of the National Hispanic Council on Aging, and to the dedicated NACOA staff for their tireless efforts in organizing today's celebration. Additionally, I want to recognize the following distinguished attendees for their leadership and continued support. Mr. Edwin Walker, former Deputy Assistant Secretary for Aging of the Administration for Community Living, also known as ACL. Karen Jones, President and CEO of the National Black Caucus on Aging, also known as NCBA. Ramsey Alwyn, President and CEO of the National Council on Aging. Susan Petchin, President and CEO of Alliance for Aging Research. Acting Administrator Mara Carlson and Deputy Assistant Secretary Carrie Benson from ACL. And Dr. Marisa Teresa McPhail, President and CEO of Vida Senior Centers. Also, we have some residents of NACOA's Casa Iris housing facility here with us tonight, who are joining us today as representatives of the NACOA community. Let's give them an applause. Qué bueno que están con nosotros. We cannot forget to thank Jay Chris and Trey Sorrells for the wonderful music and who will be joining us throughout this ceremony. And thanks to all of our guests for being here and sharing our vision of dedication. Get ready to have fun, be inspired, and more importantly, celebrate the Latino influence. Now it is my great privilege to begin the event with a heartfelt welcome from a visionary leader who has lifted the National Hispanic Council on Aging towards remarkable achievements. Please join us in welcoming the President and CEO of NACOA, Dr. Yanira Cruz.
Thank you, Vivian, for that inspiring beginning. And thank you, everyone. Buenas noches, bienvenidos, boa noite for those who are here from Brazil. We are fortunate to have a delegation from Brazil here, as well as from El Salvador. So it's wonderful to have you all here, and it's wonderful to see good friends, colleagues, and I thank you for making time to be here. I know how busy our schedules are, and your effort is greatly, greatly appreciated. So every year, NACOA hosts this wonderful event so that we may gather together as a community and recognize the achievement of leaders nationally and internationally. It is an opportunity for us to not only reflect on and admire the steps we have taken towards greater prosperity for our communities, but to recognize and assess the work still to come. In the United States alone, we are a population of over 63 million, making up nearly a fifth of the entire country. But all too frequently are these 63 million not considered, their cultural circumstance not accounted for in social services, their financial circumstances not accounted for on a policy level, their very genetic makeup not accounted for in medical research. The lack of prioritization given to Hispanic Latinos is the very reason that the National Hispanic Council on Aging exists. Bridging this gap and building the infrastructure to provide lasting change is where NACOA finds its purpose. Because what will happen to the neglected and ill-considered when they are at their most vulnerable? Did you know that currently there are over 5 million Hispanic Latino older adults living in the United States? 6 million more will reach 65 over the next 10 years. It is our job to look out for the Hispanic Latino community and ensure they may age in good health, with dignity and comfort. In our community, we revere our elders for their experience, their wisdom, and the achievements made over a long life. Tonight, we consider all that our community has done and continues to do. Tonight, we celebrate the Hispanic Latino influence, immense and profound as it is. It is of little surprise to any of us that our influence is powerful and that it exists within every aspect of culture, industry, politics, and society as a whole. Where would we be without such household names as Cesar Chavez, Raúl Izaguirre, Dolores Huerta, Roberto Clemente, or Frida Kahlo? Be it workers' rights, sports, or the arts, these historical figures continue to stand as role models. And in the generations since, we have seen a swell of Latino representation in American politics. Justice Sonia Sotomayor stands as the first Latina to serve on the Supreme Court. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez is the youngest woman in history to be elected to the United States Congress. Barriers continue to be broken, achievements continue to be made, and innovation continues to prosper within the Hispanic Latino community. These steps cannot be underestimated. Like stones cast into a pond, the ripples of each milestone reach far and wide. And many of you gathered with us here tonight are casting such milestones. And so we celebrate you as trailblazers here tonight. Each of you have made sincere effort to improve the lives of older adults, their families, and caregivers, both within and outside of the United States. You will surely hear this many times throughout the night, but we must offer our most heartfelt congratulations and appreciation for the work you have done and the change you continue to usher for people everywhere, especially the most vulnerable. Following tonight's ceremony, we will all disperse to continue carrying out our highly important, undoubtedly necessary work. It is my hope that we may all continue to do so under a unity of kindness and hope. It is my hope that such unity may be exhibited across the Hispanic Latino community. Now is the time for us to find ways to be our brother's keeper. I urge us all, everyone in this room, to recommit and double our efforts to help others and to be kind to all. All of you here are leaders, and as leaders, it is our duty to work in the name of justice and fairness for all. This country needs us, and our community needs us, especially the nonprofit sector, philanthropy, and academia. We need these sectors to step up. These institutions must become a voice for the voiceless. We at the National Hispanic Council on Aging will continue the duty laid before us as an organization within the nonprofit sector. We will continue to hold up our ideals and give our all to serving this wonderful community, despite the changes that surely await us in the coming years. As a nonprofit organization, our work is always aimed at those gaps in our country's services. We take on the responsibility of answering the requests for help that are too often met with refusal. We catch these cries that manage to slip through government-designed safety nets as we continue to do so regardless of the administration or the ideals taking hold of the country's politics at any given time. NACOA will continue to be there with trusted research and verified information when our community comes with concerns about their health. We will continue to build and spread programs so that our community receives the resources and services that they need. In such times of change as these, we will be consistent and endeavor to provide stability. It is our promise that we will not waver. The cultural affinity of our organization will continue to represent and serve the entirety of the Hispanic Latino community. Last year's award ceremony celebrated our diversity, and we have not forgotten. Regardless of language, national origin, or political belief, we are united as one community. And as long as we support one another and work together, we can continue to uplift each other and the issues we all care about. Adversity is only a challenge, an opportunity to find new solutions and new ways to conduct our business and to address the needs of our collective communities. Before I end my time, I would like to take just a moment to thank everyone who has joined here tonight once again. Thank you to our wonderful staff, to the University Club for offering this beautiful venue, and to our sponsors. And lastly, just to end with a quote. I can do things you cannot. You can do things I cannot. And together, we can do great things. Muchísimas gracias.
Thank you, Dr. Cruz, for your inspiring remarks. It's my honor to introduce tonight's speaker, Rigo Saborio, Vice President of Programs, Equity, and Community Impact at the SCAN Foundation, and a mentor of mine. In this role, Rigo oversees the Foundation's efforts around diversity, equity, and inclusion to ensure all older adults receive the services and support they need to age well. Over the last year, Rigo implemented the Foundation's Community Impact Plan for strategic and equitable grant making. Today, he will be your keynote speaker for tonight's event. Rigo.
Well, good evening. I'm sure you don't want to stand, in front of your meal here, and so please eat. I've raised two, they're grown daughters now, and so I'm used to speaking while there's a mess going on and a lot of noise at the table, so please feel free. So good evening, esteemed colleagues, friends, and honored guests, and members of the National Hispanic Council on Aging. It's a privilege to stand before you tonight at this prestigious annual award dinner, where we gather to celebrate the remarkable contributions within the aging field. And speaking of remarkable contributions, how about Dr. Janita Cruz? What an amazing leader. I'm so proud to say that I've known Janita for over 20 years now. I don't know if you'd say the same thing about me, but I certainly feel about you. Very proud. And there's not a day that goes by when she does not amaze me. She's a visionary leader who's relentless to ensuring our older adults, particularly Latino older adults, do not get left behind. So our deep appreciation to you as well, and to the NACOA staff for all the years of advocating and educating leaders on behalf of older Latinos and Latinas, and for engaging nuestra comunidad effectively. Tonight, we honor extraordinary individuals who have undeniably impacted the lives of older adults and their families. You are the champions of our field, pioneers who have driven change, advocates who have fought fiercely for rights and resources, and directors who have led with a vision of care and dignity. Each of you embodies the essence of what it means to serve, contributing to a collective heritage of commitment that spans decades. But as we celebrate these achievements, we must also take a moment to understand the context in which we live and we operate. As we gather here this evening, we find ourselves in a nation that recently endured a contentious presidential election, a true reflection of deep-seated divide and discord. Yet, amidst the noise of political rhetoric, we must remind ourselves of a greater truth, our collective purpose. We are bound together by our commitment to ensuring dignity, support, and advocacy for our aging population, particularly within the Hispanic community. During times of challenge and division, our shared commitment to unity and hope is more crucial than ever. Unity. What a simple word, yet so powerful. Unity is not the absence of disagreement. Rather, it is the commitment to come together, to listen, and to engage with one another. The struggle we've witnessed is not merely about politics. It's about the values we hold dear as a society. It's about compassion, respect, and the belief that every voice matters, especially those of our older adults who have paved the way for future generations. In this complex landscape, our mission has never been more important. As representatives of the aging field, be it in services, government, or advocacy, we have the unique opportunity to foster an environment where unity triumphs over division and hope prevails over despair. So how do we cultivate this hope? First and foremost, we must focus on collaboration. Effective collaboration extends beyond our respective organizations. It encompasses building bridges across sectors. Government entities, nonprofits, community leaders, and business must come together. By pooling our resources, sharing insights, and aligning our objectives, we can create comprehensive solutions that address the multifaceted need of our aging population. Next, let us not forget the power of inclusivity. The Hispanic community is diverse, rich with unique stories and experiences. Let us elevate these voices in our conversations, ensuring our programs and policies reflect the nuances of our community. Inclusivity fosters a sense of belonging, which is foundational in building hope for those we serve. When every older adult feels valued and heard, we create stronger communities. At the SCAN Foundation, where I serve as Vice President of Programs, Equity, and Community Impact, I'm proudly working with an amazing and dedicated team, especially our star, your amazing moderator tonight, Vivian Nava-Schellinger. Send me my $50 tomorrow. To achieve our vision where everyone in our society ages well and with purpose by igniting bold and equitable changes in how our older adults age in home and in community, regardless of age, disability, race, ethnicity, income, or where they live. This is especially true for the duals and near-duals, whom we refer to as the forgotten middle. However, as we all know too well, not everyone is aging successfully. Thus, to the points about being inclusive of the voices from our communities and being collaborative, one of our major goals at the Foundation is to achieve health equity in aging by addressing drivers of inequities. And we are achieving this through two key strategies. One, we are looking to shift power to the community, empowering local voices of older adults, and by strategically building alliances and collaborating with leaders across the aging, disability, race, and social justice sectors. We are shifting power to community and older adults by capturing and telling their stories to increase awareness, to change hearts and minds. And there's no better time than today, given where we are. We're also capturing their stories to build allyship. We want to expand narrative and support for action and change in systems, and as well as change in the drivers of inequities. Our work is being informed by the community, engaging older adults and community in decision making. And we are pursuing efforts to scale the ability to activate older adults to influence change by developing their skills and capacity to not only amplify voices from the community, but to effectively activate them, as well as to demand and influence system change targeting decision makers in legislative, policy, as well as boardrooms. And we envision that community-based organizations are and will continue to be critical partners in this work. And as I mentioned, we are strategically building alliances among leaders across the aging, disability, race, and social justice sectors. And why? Because we want to assure we combine their efforts toward common objectives that benefit all older adults, especially marginalized populations. Leaders from these sectors focus on achieving equity and health outcomes. Leaders in aging aim to ensure that older adults have access to quality care, while racial and social justice advocates seek to eliminate systemic inequities affecting marginalized groups. By collaborating, we can combine our efforts toward common objectives that benefit all populations. Together, we are much stronger. We must also embrace innovation and adaptability. The challenges posed by an aging population are evolving rapidly. As we navigate the aftermath of the election, let us think creatively about how we can best serve our seniors. Whether it's leveraging technology in caregiving, advocating for equitable healthcare access, or providing support services, adaptability is key. By embracing change, we empower ourselves and those we serve to thrive, even in the face of adversity. And under these times of division, uncertainty, and anxiety, we must keep hope alive. Hope exists in each of us. It exists in the stories we share, the lives we touch, and the changes we inspire. Let us be the beacon of hope for our older adults, reinforcing their value and importance in our society. Let us remind them that they are not alone. Together, we will fight against the challenges they face, ensuring they live with dignity and respect. As we celebrate tonight, let us recognize the incredible achievements of our honorees. Their dedication to service exemplifies what we can be accomplished when we unite with a common purpose. Each award represents countless hours of hard work, passion, and hope for a better future. Let their stories inspire us to continue pushing forward, not just for those we serve today, but for the generations to come. In closing, I urge each of you to reflect on the power of unity and hope in your work. as we move forward, let us recommit ourselves to collaboration, inclusivity, and adaptability. Together we can create a future where our aging population thrives, where hope reigns, and where unity guides our actions. Thank you for your dedication, your passion, and your tireless efforts in this vital work. Together, we are not just shaping policies, we are shaping a brighter future for everyone. To quote Eleanor Roosevelt, "To be united is a great thing, but to be united in hope is even better." Thank you.
Thank you so much, Rigo. And I can attest that he actually speaks like that in real life every day. Rigo, definitely his kindness and his understanding and his ability to build bridges is his strength. So thank you. So I want to actually get to the fun part. Remember, I promised you all some fun. So before the dancing are the awards. So our first award of the night is the Research Recognition Award, sponsored by the Alzheimer's Association. This award is a testament to the commitment of an individual to improving the health of diverse populations through research. This award will be presented by Dr. Carl V. Hill, Chief Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Officer at the Alzheimer's Association. Welcome, Dr. Hill.
Good evening. All right. I'm excited, I tell you. So, as was said, my name is Dr. Carl V. Hill, Chief Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Officer for the Alzheimer's Association, and it's certainly my honor to present this year's Research Recognition Award. The Research Recognition Award goes to an individual who has demonstrated a commitment to improving the health of diverse populations through research. This year's recipient is Dr. Marie P. Aranda. Give Dr. Aranda a hand. An internationally recognized social worker and socio-behavioral scholar. Maria is currently situated at the University of Southern California with both its School of Social Work and Gerontology. Her work is noted to demonstrate an intersection between chronic illness, social resources, and the psychological well-being of low-income minority populations. She has worked with such renowned and influential institutions as the National Institute, the Gerontological Society of America, the National of Rehabilitation and Research, and of course, the Alzheimer's Association, and many, many more. Overall, her research addresses psychosocial care of adult and late life psychiatric disorders, ethnic and racial diversity in the delivery of mental health services, and sociocultural adaptations to evidence-based social work practice. And Maria is one heck of a mentor as well. I tell you, I recall being a new leader at the National Institute on Aging's Office of Special Populations, and shaking in my boots, looking for ways to lead. And Dr. Aranda gave me my first invitation to come and give a keynote talk at USC, and it has been just a tremendous time getting to know her. I moved over to the Alzheimer's Association, but her mentorship has truly been unforgettable. So as an expert in her field and a trailblazer in her research, Dr. Aranda's commitment to improving the health of diverse populations cannot be underestimated. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome this year's Research Recognition Award winner, Dr. Maria P. Aranda. Come on up, congratulations.
Wow. What a beautiful introduction, Dr. Hill. Thank you so much. Beautiful. Well, first of all, being up here and receiving this research award, when I first heard that the National Hispanic Council on Aging was going to bestow this award, my heart skipped. Because, as you know from the introduction, and if you've looked at my CV, I've dedicated my life and my career to really researching the lived experience of Latino older adults in the United States and elsewhere. So being able to be the recipient of this year's research award is really a tremendous honor. I can't tell you how much of an honor it is. You know, I see myself as the accidental scientist. I was born into a family where there were no scientists, but there were hard workers. I was born into a family where there were no academics, but people who knew what love was and the sense of community. I grew up in a family where we had very interesting personalities and lived experiences that many of us sometimes do research on. But this was a family who always had that hope that you were talking about earlier. And they didn't know what I was going to do as I was growing up, and I didn't know either. But they always told me, tienes que ir a la universidad. You have to go to the university. And I said, but how? We don't know, but you're going. And I said, okay. I scratched my head, so I figured it out. I was first generation to go to university, first person in our family to become an academic. And I've never looked back. And I'll tell you why. Being a scientist, a social scientist, is not easy. Many times, some of my colleagues have talked about what we term the imposter syndrome, that you're in the academic, hallways, but you shouldn't be there. That's not your place. But I've often wondered, why do we say that? And I think it's because certain forces don't want us in those hallways, don't want us doing the important research that guides the work that all of us are doing here. So in that spirit, I've always rebuked that term. And I said, no, I'm not an imposter. I belong here. And that has really, really guided my life and my life's work. So as being an accidental scientist, I've known that research is important because it gives us the credibility and the gravitas to be able to say, we know we have needs, we know we have preferences, we know that we have life goals in our life, but we need the research to have that gravitas in the hill, right, on the hill, and in other areas. But being that type of person is difficult on another level. Because as I'm writing a grant, as I'm writing a publication, as I'm on a committee, an NIH committee, etc., I become aware of the more things change, the more they remain the same. So many of the disorders, conditions, life experiences and situations and contexts that I research, for example, major depression, dementia, family caregiving, etc., many things have not changed over the years. People still want the same things they did 20, 30, 40, 50 years ago. And so the only difference is that there are forces that keep us at a certain level. And so we need that hope, we need that gravitas. We also need a lot of energy to make sure that we know that we belong, we know we have hope, we know that we have to do the hard work that's necessary. In closing, I'd like to give a big hug, virtual hug, to Yanira Cruz, Dr. Yanira Cruz. I met her 20 years ago, and she was new in this job. And you know what? She looks great. She's doing what she needs to do. But really, she's been a stalwart. She's been the person that has been the energy and the engine behind the National Hispanic Council on Aging. And I want to thank you personally, and of course your board and your staff, for the day in, day out work that you do in this space. Con mucho corazón, gracias.
Congratulations, Dr. Aranda. Our next award is the Lifetime Achievement Award. We are honored to have Ms. Molly Burrich, Senior Director of Public Policy and Government Affairs at Otsuka Pharmaceutical, Inc., presenting this award tonight. Welcome, Molly.
Good evening, everyone. As noted, I'm Molly Burrich from Otsuka America Pharmaceutical, and I'm very honored to be here, but also to present this year's Lifetime Achievement Award. The recipient of the Lifetime Achievement Award recognizes leaders who have helped to improve the lives of older adults, promote health equity, and build sustainable, healthy communities, particularly in Latin America. This year's recipient is Dr. Gustavo Cuellar. Please join me in, oh, I have more. Would you like to come up here? I have a long thing to read. Who is founder and president of the company Casas S.A. de CV, which I'm sure I butchered, which provides technical advisory and supplies to energy projects in the Latin American region. Dr. Cuellar has led countless efforts in the study and implementation of geothermal energy in and throughout the world, Latin America, the US, the Caribbean, parts of Asia, Africa, and Eastern Europe. His expertise and leadership have aided in the use and understanding of renewable energy source and has been extensive and impactful. He has coordinated a multidisciplinary team of the most qualified specialists in geothermal energy, economics, and legislation in diagnosing the U.S.'s energy sector between 2013 and 2020. Throughout his professional experience, he has participated in research and human resource training activities in over 51 countries. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome this year's Lifetime Achievement Award, Dr. Cuellar.
Muy buenas noches. Como se podrán imaginar, estoy muy emocionado de recibir esta distinción. Es una de las genialidades de NACOA y de SINC para impulsar más a los que estamos luchando por el bienestar de, en primer lugar, nuestra raza latina, ¿verdad? Nuestra América Latina, nuestros residentes en los Estados Unidos y en el resto del mundo la gente que lo necesita. Y uno de los elementos es la energía. Sabemos que la energía provee posibilidades mejores para los pueblos. Y nuestra lucha es que llegue la energía a todo el mundo. Es una lucha cuesta arriba, pero con mucho entusiasmo lo estamos haciendo. I am deeply honored and humbled to receive this prestigious award from the National Hispanic Council on Aging. Thank you to NACOA and its members for this distinction, but more importantly, thank you for your noble work on behalf of older Hispanics, their families, and caregivers. You are truly making a difference in the lives of so many within our community. As we celebrate Hispanic heritage and the theme of Hispanic influence, I am reminded of how my passion for geothermal energy began as a university student in El Salvador. I was drawn to this cutting-edge technology, harnessing the heat of our Mother Earth to generate power. It was both exciting and challenging. I completed with other students and was selected for an international fellowship to be trained in geoscientific disciplines focused on geothermal exploration and development in New Zealand, the Philippines, Italy, Iceland, the United States, and Mexico. For a boy who had never left El Salvador borders, that was quite a journey. This led to an achievement I am particularly proud of the development of and construction of the first geothermal plant in Central South America and the Caribbean, in Aguachapán, El Salvador, which will celebrate 50th anniversary next year. With the addition to the Berlin geothermal plant, which I led the initial development, we developed our country generate 25% of its electricity needs with clean, renewable energy, placing it among us the 8th pioneer countries of the technology. An example of Hispanic ingenuity and resourcefulness. It has always been a challenge to explain geothermal, how we drill 2 or 3 kilometers through the Earth's crust, find heat and water, bring it to the surface as steam to move turbines, generate electricity, and re-inject back the water to be heated again by the Earth, a sustainable, renewable process. Since my first global travel experience, I have been to over 50 countries, training, promoting, exploring, and developing geothermal energy. I have had to explain to world leaders, heads of states, corporations, bankers, and the best scientific minds. But never I have been more nervous like today than when I had to explain geothermal to my son's second grade class. I couldn't sleep the night before, but I took my maps, my pictures, my videos, and explained geothermal energy. I was moved when a few weeks later they sent me their reports. They had understood it better than most world leaders and were kind enough to thank me for the small part I play in it. It is moments like this and this celebration of Hispanic heritage and influence that make me proud, but also remind me of the work we still have to do. There is no better use of our influence than to help to plant the seeds of the future, sometimes against very difficult challenges. And as I once again comment, the incredible work of NACOA is doing, I am reminded of a phrase my son shared with me, I believe from Emerson. Do not go where the path may lead. Go instead where there is no path and leave a trail. Thank you for the noble trail you are living. Thank you to NACOA for this incredible honor. Muchas gracias.
Congratulations again, Dr. Cuellar. Let's continue with our next recipient of the Lifetime Achievement Award. It is our pleasure to welcome Christian Salgado, Director of Operations at the Mayor's Office on Latino Affairs. Welcome, Mr. Salgado.
Muy buenas noches. Muchas gracias por la invitación. I'm Christian Salgado, Director of Operations of the Mayor Muriel Bowser's Office on Latino Affairs. On behalf of my director, Eduardo Perdomo, I'm really pleasure to have the honor to present the Lifetime Achievement Award. This award recognizes individuals who have made a significant impact in improving the lives of older adults, advancing health equity, and building sustainable and healthy communities, especially within the United States. This year's recipient is Mr. Enrique Rivera Torres, who began his public service career in 1970 in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Over a period of 4 years in that city, he worked as a draft counselor for the Friends Peace Committee, a psychiatric technician with the Veterans Administration, and then a high school Spanish teacher for the Parkway program, the nation's first school without walls program, a guitar player at a Spanish restaurant, as assistant director of the American Friends Service Committee Days Hall Research Project, as a director of an adult literacy program, and as a co-director of the Student Exchange Research Program between Philadelphia and Puerto Rico, sponsored by the American Friends Services Committee. Mr. Rivera Torres moved to the Washington area in December 1975, where he initially worked as a psychiatric technician for the Washington Hispanic Center and a tenor organizer with the Adelante Inc. in 1977. He became executive director of the Latin American Youth Center in 1978 and led the organization for 9 years, establishing it as the first leading Latino youth organization in the Washington metropolitan area. And tonight, after a conversation with Mr. Rivera, I also learned that he was the president of Fiesta DC, and he led the el Consejo de Agencias Latinas. So, mil gracias. That was new to me. Mr. Rivera began work as a district government employee in 1987 as a board member of the board of the DC Board of Parole, and served as acting chairman of the board on 2 occasions, from 1996 to 2002. He served as the executive assistant within the office of the chief of police. During this period, he also completed a 6-month detail to the DC Office of Planning. From 2004 to 2007, he served as a program manager of the Publishing for Prevention Division Community Outreach Unit. Beginning in May 2004, Mr. Rivera also served as the Metropolitan Police Department's Language Access Coordinator. In May of 2011, Chief of Police Katie Lanier appointed Mr. Rivera as Director of the Special Liaison Division within the Patrol Services and School Security Bureau, overseeing the department's Asian Liaison Unit, Deaf and Hard of Hearing Liaison Unit, Gay and Lesbian Liaison Unit, and the Latino Liaison Unit, while continuing his service as the Department Language Access Coordinator. Mr. Rivera has seen not only to a storied career of achievement within a public service, but to a kind of noble legacy career on his children and the institution he touched with his expertise. As a public servant, I'm really thankful with Mr. Rivera, because many of the Latino that create and build the path for the young Latino public servant that we are working for all of you now. Let's welcome and congratulate this year's Lifetime Achievement Award winner, Mr. Enrique Rivera Torres.
Ladies and gentlemen, dear guests, friends, colleagues, it is an immense honor for me to stand before you today to accept this Lifetime Achievement Award. I want to express my deepest gratitude to Janita Cruz and to all other staff and board members involved in this decision. Reflecting on my journey, I am filled with appreciation for the many experiences and opportunities that have shaped me. I began my public service career as the young man mentioned in Philadelphia in 1970, where I had the privilege of working in various roles that allowed me to engage with diverse communities, whether as a draft counselor, a psychiatric technician, or even a guitar player in a restaurant. Each role taught me something invaluable about compassion, resilience, and the power of connection. In 1975, my path led me to Washington, D.C., where I continued to serve the community in a number of ways. From organizing tenants to directing the Latin American Youth Center for 9 years, I was driven by a commitment to uplift and empower those around me. My time as a district government employee allowed me to further advocate for work as a member of the DC Parole Board, an analyst at the DC Office of Planning, and as a special assistant to 3 chiefs of police while serving as language access coordinator for the police department. These positions taught me that effective service is about listening, understanding, and bridging gaps between communities and the systems that serve them. I owe so much to my family, my wife, Maria Ivonne, and our children, Heidi and Enrique. They have been my anchors, inspiring me with their dedication to social justice and education. Watching them grow into professionals committed to making a difference has been one of my life's greatest joys. As I accept this award, I do so not just on my behalf, but in honor of all those who have walked this path with me. Public service is never a solitary endeavor. It thrives on collaboration, support, and shared vision. I encourage all of you to continue your invaluable work, for each of us has the power to create meaningful change in our communities. Thank you once again for this recognition. It inspires me to continue working towards a more inclusive and compassionate society.
Congratulations, Mr. Rivera. Our next award is the President's Award, and so please join me in welcoming NACOA's president once again, Dr. Yanira Cruz, as she presents this year's President's Award.
Thank you, Vivian. You caught me off guard there. It's great. So we're going to call a friend back in a little bit here. So every year, it's my honor to present the President's Award to someone who has shown a strong commitment to supporting policies and programs aimed at improving the lives of older adults and caregivers of all backgrounds. Too often are these groups overlooked, neglected, and denied the resources they deserve and need. The recipient of the President's Award is a friend, a colleague, an individual who recognizes the necessity in ensuring the success and comfort of these groups. This year's recipient is Rigo Saborio, Vice President of Programs, Equity, and Community Impact at the SCAN Foundation. In his role, Rigo, as you heard earlier, he oversees the foundation's efforts around diversity, equity, and inclusion to ensure all older adults receive the services and support they need to age well. Over the last years, Rigo implemented the Foundation's Community Impact Plan for strategic grant-making. He has over 30 years of experience in the field of aging, with an emphasis on public policy, diversity, outreach, administration, and direct service. Rigo's career included 13 years as Chief Executive Officer of St. Barnabas Senior Services in Los Angeles and 8 years with AARP, culminating as a Director of Diversity Outreach and Alliance for AARP's National Office. He also served 6 years as Director of USC's Los Angeles Caregiver Resource Center and worked as a staffer on the U.S. Select Committee on Aging for the U.S. House of Representatives. Rigo is active with numerous charitable and professional organizations. He's a co-founder of the Los Angeles Aging Advocacy Coalition and is a member of the Equity in Aging Advisory Committee, which advises the governor's administration on the implementation of the California Master Plan for Aging, as well as the Department of Aging on the planning and implementation of aging and disability programs. Let us put together our hands and welcome this year's President Award recipient, Mr. Rigo Saborio.
I'm back. Thank you so much, Anita. This means a great deal to me. It really, reflect back and over 30 plus years in my career, and certainly you were a big part in that, and a true colleague and a mentor. So receiving this award from you and on behalf of NACOA and its board members and its amazing staff, I'm really honored and grateful for this recognition. This has been a long journey, and it's one of those that I think, in many of us in this field of aging, I kind of stumbled on it. But I think it was meant to be, and because it enabled me to really align my love for older people, which I, sort of came to, right, realizing how much I loved spending time with my grandparents, and especially my grandmother. And it also allowed me to view the world not only from an older adult perspective, but really align my own experiences as an immigrant coming to this country back in 1972 as a result of a major earthquake in Nicaragua, which forced my family to immigrate here. Coming here to a land completely unknown, landing in Santa Monica, which at the time was not very diverse, only spoke Spanish. So you could just imagine sort of the culture shock, language barriers, and the impact that I personally had being called all sorts of names. And having that experience and growing up and, dealing with many forms of discrimination and racism, to then also experiencing ageism, seeing my father, who at 65, after working for a company over 30 years, hard labor, was called into the office at 4 o'clock on a Friday afternoon to be told that his department of 3 was being disbanded and he was being let go. Except the other 2, who were younger, found a job within the company in other departments. So that was sort of odd. But, when you bring these perspectives of ageism, racism, sexism, you name it, this is where I think, found my love in aging, because it really does speak to all of that. That not only personally, but through my family, but through my career, I've also seen it firsthand. And many of these voices of older adults who are marginalized, particularly Latino community, they're often ignored. And as the population of older adults continues to diversify, we can't no longer ignore them. This population is not only growing, it's diversifying. And the policies that have been shaped to support them have been based on not their realities and certainly not their perspectives. And so that drives me in these 30 years. That has driven me. Through my first years and working for Congressman Ed Roybal on the House Select Committee on Aging, when diabetes was not a word and minorities and diabetes was not a thing. It enabled me to really, as an undergraduate, believe it or not, aging was not my undergraduate degree, it was nutritional sciences. So I went to work on the aging committee and really focused on nutritional areas, and diabetes, come to find out, was huge among our diverse community, minority community. So really, through where my interests lied, I was able to then use that passion to really work and bring tremendous attention through the power of the congressman at the time and leading the Select Committee on Aging, tremendous attention to that. And that led me down a journey to continue to work on always marginalized communities. And, that has been the core of my work. And I hope that when I decide to retire, or the good Lord decides to take me, whichever comes first, that my work may have made a difference in at least in somebody's life. And as I think and reflect back also, I think it's not just important to think back, but also to think, into the future. And what I also I'm dismayed of is that there's not enough representation of us in this field. We need more representation. I remember, 30 years ago starting in this field, not only was I the youngest, but I think I was the only person of color often in the room. And as the older adult population continues to diversify, we can no longer stand for that. So as part of our work as advocates and as professionals, as a person of color or an ally of us of color, we must come together. We must unite to really change that and increase the representation in this field among those with lived experience who understand this firsthand. So I challenge all of you as we move into the future, especially under these uncertain times and what we're going to be expecting. We need to come together, not only fight for what we believe in the current situation, in the current environment, but also ensure that we got folks behind us that will represent us with lived experiences, because there's no one better to represent those that are marginalized and often ignored than those who have gone through it themselves. So with that, I end by saying, again, thank you, Janita. Thank you for this recognition. Thank you for the solidarity and us coming together. And thank you all. And I also want to congratulate my fellow honorees tonight, especially a couple of folks, just real quick. I know my 5 minutes have probably way passed, but also want to recognize Maria Aranda. Truly an honor to be receiving an award with you tonight. We go back a number of years as well. Very honored to see your achievements, and thank you for all you do for the Latino community. And Dr. Elena Rios, it goes without saying, the legacy that you have. But it wasn't you that started it all. Your mother did. When I was a young kid starting my career, I actually worked right next to her mother. And we were case managers, when we started when I started my career, and she was such a mentor to me. So my first, sort of opportunity to meet Dr. Rios was through her mother. And so I want to thank you, but I also want to thank your mom, who's made a difference in my life as well. Thank you so much, everyone.
Congratulations again, Rigo Saborio. We really like to enjoy some dancing, continue eating for the next couple of minutes, and then we'll proceed with our program. Thank you, everyone. Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you so much. Just fascinating. I was just watching their legs, you know, their movements, their steps. Amazing. Amazing, amazing. Welcome back, everyone. I hope you enjoyed the dance performance. Con ganas, you know, tomorrow to learn tango. So I encourage everyone. And of course, the dinner. To continue with the program, our next award is the Outstanding Public Policy Award. Join me in welcoming the presenter of the Public Policy Award, Ms. Winta Menges, Government Affairs, Strategic Alliances, and Health Equity at Amgen.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It is so hard to follow that dancing, but I'm going to try my best. Good evening, everyone. I am Winta Menges. I am the head of Strategic Alliances for Health Equity and Government Affairs at Amgen. It is my honor to present this year's award for Outstanding Public Policy. I think we heard earlier from one of the speakers how important it is to make sure that we have representation in all areas, and public policy is certainly one of them, and I see many champions and leaders in this space, so it's truly my honor to present this award. The recipient of this award goes to an individual who has shown a very strong commitment to supporting public policies that are aimed at protecting and providing and improving services and benefits to older adults and diverse communities, which we're all here to celebrate today. This year's recipient is Congresswoman Linda Sanchez, who many of you know, a former labor lawyer who now represents California's 38th Congressional District. As many of you know, she has been elected to the U.S. House of Representatives in 2002. She was the first Latina to serve on the powerful Ways and Means Committee in the House of Representatives, as well as the House Judiciary Committee. Throughout her time in Congress, Congresswoman Sanchez has been a steadfast advocate for many working people that need her protection. She has demonstrated a commitment to improving school safety, which we know is very important to the Hispanic community and many others, enabling more women protecting minoritized communities, as well as the veterans, to establish small businesses as part of her work in the Ways and Means Committee. She has done a lot of work to reform the tax code to provide relief for long-term caregivers, which is much needed in this country. She has brought security to the misuse of arbitration that we know unfairly harms workers, and keeping families in their homes through changes to bankruptcy law, which we know is also very critical to the Hispanic community. She has been a staunch advocate for Alzheimer's beneficiary and caregiver support. Now let's all applaud this year's recipient of the Outstanding Public Policy Award, Congresswoman Linda Sanchez. And I know she's not here today, but Sarah from her office is here.
Hello, everyone. I'm clearly not Congresswoman Sanchez, but I am her senior health legislative staffer, and I have been with her for 3 years. It's been an honor to work with her on this, and she was thrilled that she received this award. And on behalf of her, thank you. While she was unable to be here, she asked that I share a few thoughts, although she will definitely regret not being able to attend after that tequila shot. So, as many of you know, and as was noted before me, she's the first Latina to serve on the House Ways and Means Committee, and recently became the first Latina and woman of color selected to serve as a ranking member on the Ways and Means Subcommittee. She's always been a stalwart leader in health equity, not because she wanted to, but because she had to. The Ways and Means Committee, and even Congress, looks a lot different now than it did 25 years ago. My boss, along with Javier Becerra, were the first Latino lawmakers to serve on the oldest and most prestigious committees in the House of Representatives. Upon joining, Congresswoman Sanchez immediately became a voice not only for her district, but for other Latino communities who have been systemically overlooked. That is why when we are discussing any health issues, when I'm in her office, the first question she always asks me is, how is it going to affect our district? Her work is also informed by issues that have personally affected her. And for those who do not know, I know many of you do, she has cared for loved ones with Alzheimer's. She's watched both of her parents battle this devastating disease. And that's why the bulk of her career in Congress has been dedicated to advancing legislation improving early detection of cognitive dementia for our nation's seniors. By 2050, the number of Alzheimer's diagnoses is projected to rise to nearly 13 million. And according to the CDC, Latinos will see the steepest increases in Alzheimer's disease by 2060. Her legislation, the Change Act, provides the critical support and time for families with aging parents and grandparents so they can create a care plan. But early detection is just one step. Another important piece of the Congresswoman's work is increasing support for caregivers, a burden which often falls upon women within their own family, often at the expense of their own financial and emotional well-being. And Medicare does not cover any of the supportive services needed to care for older adults with severe cognitive impairment, and that includes work many unpaid family caregivers are doing. As a result, many families drive themselves into poverty to pay for this care. And that's why she's also worked to deliver a real solution for family caregivers called the Credit for Caring Act, which provides a tax credit for services like home care and adult daycare. She has worked on this over the past 8 years to progress this on a bipartisan basis. And speaking as a staffer, I think anyone who has worked in Congress knows that change can be frustratingly incremental. That's why it is the little wins that encourages us and our bosses to continue the work that we do. And I can assure you that my boss will continue advocating on these issues into the next Congress, and perhaps more importantly, she will continue to fight for equitable care for our nation's most vulnerable seniors. And lastly, on behalf of Congresswoman Sanchez, I wanted to thank the other leaders fighting for a more equitable health system for our nation's seniors. Congratulations to Rigo Abrodio and Vivian Navas for their work with the SCAN Foundation, and Maria Aranda for your research into the delivery of care for low-income and minority populations. And Dr. Cruz, thank you for your leadership of the National Hispanic Council on Aging and the Council's relentless work to keep our communities safe and healthy.
Congratulations, Congresswoman Sanchez. The next award is the Outstanding Public Health Award, sponsored by Novo Nordisk. Now we have with us Ms. Irene Bueno, co-founder and partner of NVG, who will help us present this award. Welcome, Ms. Bueno.
Good evening, everyone. It's so great to be here. I don't know about you, but when Dr. Yanira Cruz asked me to do something, I do it. So I'm so happy to be here and with all of you. I think this is the first one since the pandemic. Yeah, and I've really enjoyed coming in the past, so I'm so honored to be able to be here tonight. I realize, as I sit here, and Rigo, you recall that I worked for Congressman Ed Roybal. Yes, on his personal staff when he was the chairman of the select committee. So I realized that I probably have a lot of connections with some of you, so we should probably chat afterwards because we probably have a lot of things in common. But I'm so happy to be here to introduce and honor a longtime friend, Dr. Elena Rios. We met when we were both kids, I think, in the Clinton administration. We were children, right? We were children. Yeah, yes, we were interns. When we worked in the Clinton administration, so I'm so honored that I could work with you and to honor you tonight. I didn't have glasses back then, so. As introduced, I'm a co-founder and a partner at a government relations firm here called NVG, and I've had a chance to work with some of you. And I'm so honored to introduce the Outstanding Public Health Award that goes to an individual who has demonstrated excellence, innovation, and commitment to the health of Hispanic older adults. This year's recipient is Dr. Elena Rios, who has served as founder and president of the National Hispanic Health Foundation for 30 years. The mission is to improve the health of Hispanics and is focused on leadership, education, research, and advocacy-oriented activities. Dr. Rios has led an extensive medical career with recognized contributions to the field of health equity. She has received several leadership awards, including awards from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, the Congressional Black, Hispanic, Asian, and Native American Caucuses, American Public Health Association, Latino Caucus, and many others. Prior to her current positions, Dr. Rios served as a founding president and CEO of the National Hispanic Medical Association from 1998 to 2024, which is a very, very long time. From the beginning of her training in medicine, she has worked to improve the recruitment and success rates of minority students and the Latino population at large. That and beyond that has made her a source of great pride to the Latino community. In conjunction with her expertise and clear commitment to public health and the health of Hispanic older adults, she is the ideal recipient of this award. So please join me in congratulating Dr. Elena Rios as the Outstanding Public Health Awardee.
Thank you very much. I'm honored to get this award. Thank you, Irene. We were children. We still are. And I have to say thank you to Yanira. Thank you very much. Yanira actually worked with me a long time ago when I switched over from the Hispanic Serving Health Profession Schools to the National Hispanic Medical Association 20 years ago. So 30 years ago, I came to Washington, D.C., and everybody told me, how's your mom? How's your mother? It's like, man, how did my mother meet all these people? I'll just say she had a lot of initiative, very, very strong in our upbringing. I'm the oldest of 5, 4 sisters and a brother, and they finally stopped after my brother was born. And my mother taught us that you have to read. She took us to the library. She taught us all how to play the piano when we were 4 and 5 years old. My mother was known as a Renaissance woman. She made quilts. She did embroidery. She made costumes for all of our nieces and nephews and cousins. But she had a really strong heart. My father was a factory worker. My parents came from Los Angeles. It was my grandparents that came from the Mexican Revolution to California and to Los Angeles, and I think they instilled in my parents the importance of family, values, culture, music, diet, nutrition, I should say diet, but the whole concept of how do you become better than your last generation? And I was brought up to think about going to the dream for the stars. Do what you want to do. And I remember in first grade, second grade, third grade, they wanted to advance me a year. And I think because of my mom, just wanting to learn and do what I was very interested in science and math. We switched over to Catholic school when I was in fourth grade. Three sisters had the family plan to be able to afford to go to a Catholic school, and nobody realized this, but I finished first in the class, and by 8th grade, I was able to get a Catholic school, all the regional Catholic school award to go to high school for free. And I remember my parents being so proud. They were at every award that I got when I was like in 8th grade. Spelling bees, math contests, But anyway, I ended up, and then I remember my mother, and this is something that I don't tell people, but I ran for Miss Pico Rivera. And I remember the judge was asking me, why did you do this? I said, well, my mother made me do it. She pushed us hard. When I was in high school, the all-girls high school, I have best friends from high school and from college. She got me a job to work at the Beverly Hospital, studying to be a nurse, going to the Rio Hondo Community College, where she met Hilda Solis, who ran for assembly. And then it was Gloria Molina, and then it was Lucille Roybal, and it was everybody else that was in our political world in the LA area at the time. I unfortunately, or fortunately, got to leave home at 18 and went to Stanford University, so I didn't see my mother's progression for, the years that I went to college and then to go to public health school at UCLA in the 1970s. But I know that she very much wanted to do what she could to make up for all the years that she had to be a housewife and study to be a nurse. We graduated the same week. In 1977, she got her AA and I got my BA. And then she went on and got her bachelor's. She became a nurse and studied in White Memorial Hospital, PIH Hospital, and then she went to the East LA Health Task Force and then to Ultimed. Ultimed's a big clinic in Los Angeles. And I guess I think for me, going and leaving home, felt that I always had her legacy and always wanted to do what I could to make her proud. And I remember when she was on her deathbed, really, in the last month before she died, the last time I saw her, she asked me what I thought about everything that I did, and I said I learned everything from her. And it was really, for me, a blessing in disguise to come to Washington, D.C. I came here as an intern in 1976. Stanford University's vice president for Chicano Affairs, Cecilia Burciaga, was my mentor. She came from Washington from the U.S. Civil Rights Commission. Her husband was a cartoonist for the CIA, Tony Burciaga. He developed all the murals at Casa Zapata at Stanford University. And the Chicanos from Texas and California were Mexican-American, very strongly connected to our family's roots. My roommate's mother was the vice president for LULAC. My other roommates were, farm worker, the generals of Cesar Chavez sent my roommates to Texas to go start the farm worker movement. One of my other roommates called me here. I said, sure, what can I do, Maria? I've been doing this for 20 years. Medical school, public health school. And one of my other colleagues is now the Secretary of Health and Human Services. There's a very strong bond between the Latinos that have gone into the universities in this country. People don't realize how much passion, but also strength of values, but also understanding of how we can make change. And I went into medicine to make change, to understand, and I went into internal medicine to understand the lives of elderly people who have the most sicknesses in our community. And I trained in county hospitals, in Santa Clara County Hospital, White Memorial Medical Center in East Los Angeles, to understand what could be the solutions and the strategies coming from within the system. So I'm just going to end with, I actually left the National Hispanic Medical Association on June 1st. We just had our 30th anniversary in April. A group of doctors who worked at the White House, and Irene knows this, we were at the Clinton administration together at the White House. We decided to start the Latino voice for healthcare in this country from the professional perspective. And like Yanira, with the focus on the elderly, our focus was how do we find more Latinos to go into medicine and research and nursing and dentistry. And we have to do it ourselves. We're the alumni, we're the first critical generation to come from the schools of this country, to actually become the doctors and dentists and nurses. The nurses started in the 70s, the dentists started in the 80s. We created the National Hispanic Medical Association in 1993 at the White House. In 94, we got our marching orders to start whatever we could to do a network. And by 1999, we got our first $1 million from the Department of Health and Human Services. And in over 30 years, we started annual meetings and chapters, like all membership associations. But what you don't realize, and people, all the doctors talk to each other, all the nurses talk to each other, all the dentists talk to each other. We even started the National Hispanic Pharmacists Association. Then there's the PAs, and so they all talk to each other. So our new mission, I left one group to go to the group that we also started, that's a foundation, not a membership association. We've called it the National Hispanic Health Foundation, and our new mission is to transform the healthcare system through leadership, research, and education. And by education, I mean advocacy, not just education through social media, but education of our policymakers in this country at the federal and state levels, and policies with our stakeholders in healthcare, our pharmaceutical companies, our insurance companies, our hospitals, our nursing homes. We have to work with everyone, right? To transform the healthcare system through leadership, research, and education to improve Hispanic health equity. And we're going to be an umbrella group for the doctors, the nurses, the dentists, and the pharmacists, and the PAs, and the dietitians, and the social workers, and the mental health groups. We've been working with all of them for 20 years through our scholarship programs. We just got 1,500 scholarship applications this year. We give our databases to these groups, to the nurses, to the dentists. They get our databases and they review our applications. And we have to start thinking about how to work together to help advance changing the healthcare system instead of just talking to each other, which is what I've seen in 30 years in Washington. And in our federal government has so many programs for all of us. Again, the Department of Agriculture's program, only people over there know about it. Transportation, only people over there. And we need to figure out how to get our communities and to work together with the African Americans who are so much more advanced in our professional leadership, and how we can work together with the aging community here, especially because we know how important the wisdom of our aging community is to pass on to the next generation. And so thank you very much, and Anita, thank you very much. This means a lot. Thank you.
Congratulations, Dr. Rios, again. And also, NACOA would like to acknowledge Dr. Serrano with LULAC. Wonderful partnership that they've built together. So our next award is the Outstanding Community Service Award. We invite Pedro Lima, NACOA's Finance and Project Development Manager, to present this award. Mr. Lima.
Good evening, everyone. Is everyone having fun so far? Is it having a good time? Good. Do you guys like the dancers' performance here? Good. That's good. So it's going to be a great honor and joy that I'm here today to present the Outstanding Community Service Award. This award celebrates someone who has demonstrated excellence, innovation, and deep commitment to the well-being of Hispanic older adults. And today, this honor goes a very special person whose dedication and compassion have transformed hometown, Santa Luzia, state of Minas Gerais, Brazil. I'm talking about Rosa Werneck, president of the NGO Solidariedade. That means solidarity all together always. So Rosa Werneck is a Brazilian lawyer and a historian specialized in civil and family law. She graduated from the Pontifical Catholic University and has built a solid academic career, teaching for over 30 years. Coming from a large family with 7 siblings, Rosa draws daily inspiration from her mother, a woman ahead of her time who was also a lawyer and a teacher. Her father, an admirable man who passed away when Rosa was only 17, left her a legacy of a strong human values that she carries to this day. Currently, Rosa leads the NGO Solidariedade Todos Juntos Sempre, based in Santa Luzia, Minas Gerais, a city in the heart of Brazil. Her vision is rooted in the belief that democracy is essential to promoting dignity for citizens. Through her work, Rosa seeks to strengthen respect and appreciation for older adults in Brazil, recognizing the process made in making in the country more inclusive and respectful for all generations. Rosa and her team have done extraordinary work, offering the community's older adults much more than the essentials. At the NGO, those older adults find the opportunity to learn how to read and write, something that profoundly changed their lives. They also receive computer classes and participate in makeup classes, rediscovering their self-esteem, and have access to food and essential donations for a dignified life. Personally, knowing the work of Rosa and her team fills me with immense pride. Knowing that in my hometown, there is a group of people led by Rosa, dedicated to truly making a difference in so many lives is inspiring. Rosa not only meets the immediate needs of older adults, but also plants hope, empowering them to live a more joy and dignity. Today, we celebrate Rosa Werneck and her unwavering commitment to the community service. Rosa, on behalf of everyone, thank you for your work, your dedication, and your vision. Let's all welcome this year's Outstanding Community Service awardee. Congratulations, Rosa Werneck.
Ladies and gentlemen, eu gostaria de pedir licença para falar em meu idioma português, em respeito aos meus amigos brasileiros que vieram para uma solenidade tão linda e de tanta emoção. Eu estou muito emocionada de estar aqui. Foi um prazer enorme recebê-los no Brasil. Foi um prazer enorme recebê-los em nossa cidade. Meu nome, my name, is Rosa Werneck. Sou advogada, mas eu gosto de ser tratada como professora. Estamos extremamente felizes em estar aqui junto com todos vocês, reunidos para esse grande evento. Somos de uma cidade bem pertinho da terceira capital do Brasil. cidade de Belo Horizonte, na região sudeste do Brasil. Brasil, um país da América do Sul. Fazemos parte de uma organização não governamental. Somos todos voluntários. A nossa maior missão é atuar na comunidade, orientados por princípios éticos e principalmente democráticos. Assim, dedicamos parte do nosso tempo para atender em ações socioeducativas pessoas de nossa cidade, Santa Luzia, e de outras próximas. Ressaltamos sempre que nosso trabalho visa a melhoria da qualidade humana. Isso inclui a alfabetização de idosos, curso de capacitação profissional, aulas de idioma, de inglês, espanhol e, como já ocorreu várias vezes, entregamos alimentos para aqueles que têm fome. Assim como para gestantes que não têm absolutamente nada. A ideia da ONG Solidariedade, todos juntos sempre, começou quando, após uma região oeste do Amazonas, acho que vocês todos devem saber da lindeza da região amazônica. No estado do Pará, passei de barco perto de casas sob palafitas. Palafitas são casas na beira do rio sob paus. Uma delas era exatamente uma escola de onde os adultos tinham o sonho do saber. Naquela época, minha mãe, Efigênia Werneck, há 10 anos atrás, há 14 anos atrás, tinha falecido. E eu ficava pensando em sua vida, de forma como saiu da sua zona de conforto, pois era filha única, jovem de classe média, advogada e professora, vinda do estado do Rio de Janeiro, em uma época em que a mulher ainda era submissa aos conceitos machistas. E foi morar em nossa cidade, uma pequena cidade do interior das Minas Gerais. Naquele momento, pude perceber que ela também tinha sede de ensinar e que o que prevalecia era o amor ao próximo. No início dos anos 2000, já com seus 80 anos, ela dava aulas de alfabetização perto de nossa casa, em uma capela católica destinada ao Santo São Geraldo. Percebi também que a minha mãe, Efigênia, deve ter tido o mesmo sentimento de sua mãe, a minha avó Rosa, que teve a ousadia de se separar na década de 1920, porque não gostaria de viver uma relação abusiva. Vovó Rosa tinha os mesmos princípios de dignidade e amor para com aqueles que batiam em sua porta. Foi com essa herança de mulheres fortes que nossa ONG foi planejada. Em uma viagem ao Marrocos, na África, em Marrakech, fui a uma comunidade familiar onde mulheres novas e idosas, organizadas, faziam óleo de argan e tapetes para revenda. Naquele momento, pensei assim: quando retornar a Santa Luzia, irei organizar uma ONG com amigos para ajudar pessoas necessitadas e também aqueles que não sabem ler. Hoje, temos alguns cursos importantes. Alfabetizamos pessoas com mais de 50 anos. Pessoas que saem do seu trabalho, se dirigem até as salas de aula da nossa sede e com sede de saber. Há belos exemplos. 2 senhoras com 75 anos conseguiram tirar a venda dos olhos e começaram a ler e escrever e discutir os problemas de uma forma diferente, com sabedoria de quem argumenta, pois se informam na leitura de um jornal ou de uma revista e na internet. Vamos começar agora curso de computação para adultos e idosos, pois precisam sempre estar conectados. Assim, nós vamos caminhando, ajudando o próximo sempre. Nunca baixamos a cabeça para as dificuldades, pois elas existem e lutamos para vencê-las. Gostaria de deixar uma mensagem de nossa santa brasileira dos pobres, Irmã Dulce, que viveu na Bahia e é um orgulho para todos nós brasileiros. Se houvesse mais amor, dizia ela, o mundo seria outro. Se nós amássemos mais, haveria menos guerra. Tudo está resumido nisso. Dê o máximo de si em favor do seu irmão e, assim sendo, haverá paz na terra. Não entro na área política. Não tenho tempo para me inteirar nas complicações partidárias ou implicações partidárias. Meu partido sempre será a pobreza. Completando a fala da nossa Santa Dulce dos Pobres, cito uma passagem linda do Evangelho, a carta de Paulo aos Coríntios, que vejo ser a suprema excelência do amor ao próximo. Diz a carta: ainda que eu falasse a língua dos homens e dos anjos, se não tivesse amor, seria como um metal que soa ou como um sino que tine. E ainda que tivesse o dom da profecia e conhecesse todos os mistérios e toda a ciência, e ainda que tivesse a fé, de maneira tal que transportasse os montes e não tivesse amor, nada seria. E ainda que distribuísse toda a minha fortuna para sustento dos pobres, e ainda que entregasse meu corpo para ser queimado e não tivesse amor, nada disso aproveitaria. Não posso me esquecer de agradecer ao nosso presidente, Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva, homem que com maestria luta pelos menos favorecidos, perseverança, isso sim é importante. O nosso presidente nos ensinou o que é democracia. Nos ensinou que os invisíveis precisam ser olhados, que os invisíveis precisam ser notados, que os invisíveis precisam ser abençoados. E é assim que eu levo dessa terra o meu muito obrigada por estar aqui. Levo muito de aprendizado e uma comunhão de ideias entre os países. Levo o amor de uma instituição formada pela dedicação e amor ao próximo. Doutora Djamila, eu sou muito grata. Todos nós que viemos somos gratas pelos seus ensinamentos. Somos gratos por estarmos aqui. Somos gratos por vocês comungarem da mesma união do amor a Deus. Muito obrigada.
At the beginning, I promised you stories. I talked about how stories shape our community. You've seen such beautiful stories. You've heard such beautiful stories from your speakers. And we're truly fortunate to have the opportunity to recognize these remarkable individuals. On behalf of NAQUA, we extend our congratulations to all this year's honorees. Your tireless efforts and commitment to improving the well-being of our community serve as an inspiration to us all. Gracias. Before ending, I would like to introduce a very important piece of today's ceremony, our fundraising session. Let's welcome Ms. Michelle Kimbrough, the Executive Director of Federal Advocacy at Eli Lilly and Company. Michelle.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening, everyone. Do I need to request another tequila shot round or what? Right? Got the energy up, right? Thanks for the introduction, and allow me to congratulate all of tonight's awardees. Your achievements and the ideals you embody are an inspiration to us all. Your tireless work and commitment to improving the lives of Hispanic older adults, their families and caregivers, and to the Hispanic and Latino community at large. Thank you. As you all know, we're gathered here tonight because of NACOA, the National Hispanic Council on Aging. So I'm going to kick off a video so that we can learn about all the important work that NACOA did this year.
The National Hispanic Council on Aging, NHCOA, continues to build on its legacy of more than 50 years of advocacy and service. In 2024, NHCOA's impact is stronger than ever as we continue to take strong steps in improving the well-being of Hispanic older adults, their families, and caregivers. From local communities to national platforms, NHCOA remains at the forefront of change, advocating for health equity, economic security, and empowerment within the Latino population. This year, NHCOA brought together leaders, policymakers, and community members through two important legislative breakfasts, an event form that has become signature to NHCOA's advocacy. These sessions focused on health disparities and key issues facing Latinos, sparking meaningful conversations between community members and experts to push forward real and lasting change. Our advocacy doesn't stop there. Through the Capitol Hill briefing, we amplified the voices of Hispanic older adults, advocating for their most pressing issues and offering policy recommendations to address these challenges within the Hispanic community. During this event, we released the Status of Hispanic Older Adults Report, SHOAR, which provides critical insight into heart health disparities in the Latino community. The report highlights the urgent need to improve cardiovascular health by expanding access to care, reforming treatment practices such as step therapy, and ensuring that Latino older adults receive the care they need. In 2024, we also launched the Latino Ageless Tech Initiative, an exciting new education and training program designed to bridge the digital divide for Hispanic older adults. This initiative equips older adults with the digital literacy skills they need to stay connected, access healthcare services online, and navigate the digital world confidently. Through this program, NHCOA empowers older adults to leverage technology for their well-being, reducing isolation and increasing access to valuable resources. Education remains at the heart of NHCOA's mission. This year, we expanded our reach through webinars, health fairs, and social media campaigns, empowering our communities with the knowledge they need to make informed decisions. A key focus has been increasing access to vaccines for COVID-19, RSV, and influenza. Our efforts aim not only to improve vaccination rates but to also reduce misinformation and ensure that everyone has access to trusted information and health resources. We have also focused on motivating and informing our communities about the importance of voting and the role of Latino participation in the presidential election, emphasizing the importance of representation and making their voices heard. With the invaluable help of Promotores de Salud, we are reaching Latinos nationwide by bringing vital information and resources directly into their communities. Beyond education, NHCOA has maintained its support for families and caregivers. Through specialized training programs, we help caregivers manage the care of their loved ones with greater confidence and understanding. We also recognize the importance of continuing to support women in becoming their best selves. This is why NHCOA is dedicated to empowering women through our caregiving trainings and leadership initiatives, enabling them to strengthen their skills and take control of their futures. Mental health also remains a priority for NHCOA, and in 2024, we've taken significant steps to support the emotional well-being of older adults. Our efforts have included art therapy, self-esteem workshops, and group therapy sessions, all designed to build emotional resilience and reduce the stigma around mental health. By creating spaces where older adults can share their experiences and build connections, NHCOA is fostering a community that values good mental health. This year, NHCOA was also proud to welcome a new achievement in its direct service to communities, with the launch of our new resource center. This center has quickly become a lifeline for many, providing one-on-one assistance with housing, healthcare, transportation, and essential services. Its impact is being felt throughout the Hispanic community, where it provides critical support to older adults facing unique challenges. Our commitment to empowering Latinos doesn't end at the U.S. border. In 2024, NHCOA expanded its efforts to El Salvador and Brazil, where we led initiatives to support women's leadership and provide training to equip older adults with the skills and tools that they need to advocate for themselves. This international outreach reinforces our belief that every Latino, no matter where they live, deserves to age with dignity and independence. Through these ongoing efforts, NHCOA is making a difference, not just in the lives of older adults, but in the future of our entire community. COA. Sharing the best of us.
Before we end tonight, though, we will have a short fundraising session just to support the valuable work that you saw here on the screen. I've been working with Yanira and Nicola and all the staff for years, but even when I see the video, it's like, oh, really? I didn't know. I didn't even know that. So it's amazing work that you guys do. For many years, NACOA has made a point to develop leadership and civic engagement in the Hispanic community, and it's one of their highest priorities. Their empowerment and civic engagement training helps Hispanic older adults, their families, their caregivers, and grassroots leaders to become the advocates when it comes to policies and programs that have impact on Latino families at the state, local, and federal level. The Hispanic community, as you've heard tonight, cherishes and respects older adults, and it's really that reverence that fuels the empowerment and civic engagement training. Legislation, as you all know, surrounding public policy can seem like an insurmountable wall, but this training program works to demystify it in the eyes of Hispanic older adults, such that they can be empowered to advocate using their strength of collective voice. The training's culturally and linguistically competent curriculum is specifically designed to inspire, to motivate, and to provide participants with the tools and resources they need to advocate for the policies that advance the community in areas of economic security, housing, health, and leadership development. Now is the moment to train more Hispanics and Latinos with the tools to best advocate for their rights and needs. Over the years, NACOA has trained more than 2,000 Hispanic seniors and community members, including grassroots leaders across the United States, through the empowerment and civic engagement training. These community members are currently leveraging their advocacy skills at all different levels and across the spectrum to continue to improve the lives of Hispanic older adults and their families and caregivers. Now, let's take a moment to just reflect on the power of one person. Think about someone who you would like to touch with your support. It could be a young student, it could be an emerging leader. Think about how they could help others with this training. A family that needs assistance in navigating the healthcare system, or a community that needs support overall, but just really doesn't know how or where to begin. This is why we are here tonight, because every individual matters. Anyone can make a difference. Your donation, if you are so generous to do tonight, is part of something much bigger. Together, we can help many people by providing this leadership training, but it starts with us, everyone in this room. So how can we start? It's very simple. If you get out your program booklet and take out your phone, you can scan using your camera, your smartphone camera. There is a QR code both in your program booklet and up here on the screen. You can also go simply to nacoa.org/donate, NHCOA.org/donate. And with each donation, no matter the amount, you are empowering someone to reach their full potential as an advocate for their community. You are giving them the tools, the confidence, and the opportunity to improve their lives and the lives of those around them. There is no limit to the impact you can create, and it begins with each of us here tonight. We ask that you take that next step to contribute $30, $50, any amount to help us reach more states, to impact and empower those who need this leadership training the most. We also have a surprise for you tonight. For anyone who donates a minimum of $30 and shows confirmation of your donation, you will receive a copy of Yanira's book, A Leader's Perspective. This book is a compilation of stories from courageous women leaders detailing their successes and the barriers they've overcome. The copy is in English and will be signed by Dr. Cruz herself. Also, two women in tonight's crowd are featured in the book here tonight. We heard from Rosa, who was here a rows ago, and Dr. Carla Williams. Carla was here. So we honor them too for their recognition in this book. Your donation can also contribute to our efforts in buying a new elevator for Casa Iris that you heard about tonight, a housing facility here in Washington, D.C. That's designated for low-income Hispanic seniors who live independently. Buying and replacing a new elevator at Casa Iris is $300,000. And with your generous support, we can make this crucial improvement happen. Whether you're able to contribute $30, $50, $100, whatever the amount, we appreciate your generosity. And together we can create a safer and more welcoming environment for the 48 seniors who live in that building and who give so much to our community. So again, if you haven't already, please use your phone to scan the QR code in your program. And certainly if you don't get it tonight, you can donate any time of year going to their website at nacoa.org/donate. So I will leave you here with a quote from Albert Pike. What we have done for ourselves alone dies with us. What we have done for others in the world remains and is immortal. So through your generosity, your vision, your support, we will build a stronger and more empowered community together. Thank you all for being a part of this amazing ceremony. Thank you. I don't know if you're going to speak, Vivian. Thanks for your time.
This event represents the essence of NACOA's mission, creating a safe space where we come together, enjoy our achievements, share our stories, and support each other in our journey. Somos familia, and I hope you felt that way because I know I did tonight. As we conclude this wonderful evening, let us remember that our work is far from over. Together we can continue to advocate, empower, and make a lasting impact in the lives of Hispanic and Latino older adults. Enjoy the music, safe travels home.